Hello and welcome to Tip of the Spearhead. I'm Ace Face. I'm here with my good buddy Simon. How you doing, Simon?
I'm all right, my friend. You were very loud. I liked it. I can already tell.
Came in hot.
I can already tell there's something that might be exciting for you today. That's what it is. That's what I just got. I just got blasted by the excitement.
Yes, certainly, absolutely. Yeah, this is going to be good. It's going to be good. So thanks for joining us, guys. Hopefully, you've been enjoying our podcast. We've tried to make them a lot more frequent. But if you are joining us for the first time, this comes to you as part of the Twisted Dice Network. So we do all sorts of other things as well as podcasts. So if you enjoy this, you might also enjoy our battle reports, weekly battle reports on YouTube, glossy armies, dice by dice, call looking tables. We also are active on Facebook and on Instagram as well. We run our own tournaments, and there's loads of other ways to kind of catch us and follow what we're doing. If you like what we're doing and you want to support the channel and what we do even more, then we also have a Patreon service as well. From $1 a month, you can join our Discord server and just be part of a really cool group of people where we just chat hobby and all sorts. If you want to back us a bit further, we've got dice and we've got lots of other tiers where you can get lots of other cool swag as well. So if you like what we do, it really does help us to jump over there. And that's my sales patter for this evening, Simon.
Actually, we're nailing this, mate. We're nailing it. We've got it down to almost 3 minutes. I'm good. It's good. It's good. Maybe if people just signed up, we wouldn't have to keep doing this, right? Maybe that's it. If you want to stop hearing him whiffle on about that, just sign up.
Give me your money.
Just give me your money. That's it. If you send in money to stop doing it. Right, I don't know how much that would need, but we'll work on that. Send me a message and we'll work it out.
Work it out. Just shut me out.
Work it out, right? Everything's got a price. Shutting you up has a price. We'll do it.
It's definitely got a price. There's no doubt about it. But yeah, and also let us know if you like this podcast. Rate us and like us, follow us, subscribe, all that goodness, and send us messages and stuff like that, because we love to hear what you think and we can try and improve the show. So we've been covering recently. We've been doing the psychic awakening stuff, right, Simon?
The psychic awakening, indeed.
Yeah.
And what does that mean, John? It means that psychics awakened.
Apparently, shit is kicking off and getting real.
You can't get much more grim in the grim dark. Quite frankly, we're at the 9 on the shitometer of grim dark here. I think I don't know how much more we can go. This is literally like Spinal Tap. We're going to have to go to 11 soon, right? Yeah. But we're already at 10. Right? We're already 10. No, we can go one more. Right? We can go one grimier. Right? That's it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
one more grim.
It's all going down. So we covered that, and we talked about the Chaos Space Marines and how Space Marines got that little bit better. Today we are going to cover the Blood of Baal, but we're going to come at it from the Tyranid angle, mainly because just to massage my ego, because obviously I'm a big Tyranid fan and I am sick to death of Space Marines.
Let's talk about how much better the Blood Angels are then, right? Marines.
No, and every other fucking podcast, and you know who you are, have just covered Blood Angels to death, and completely neglected my poor beloved Tyranids. So my poor little, underrepresented, bottom of the pile, one of the worst performing competitive armies currently in the game, and we've been shoved to the side shelf while people wax lyrical about Blood Angels. So we're not going to do that, Simon.
We're not
going to do that. You're going to give
you your 5 minutes in the sun. That's what we're going to do.
Absolutely.
Well, it's going to be longer than 5 minutes, because you're going to. It'll take you an hour just to talk about fucking carnifexes, won't it? We'll have to hurry this along.
You're going to have to cut me off when I start talking about carnifexes. We could go down a black hole that we'll never come out of.
This is what Alice in Wonderland, isn't it? This is the Matrix. We don't know how we're going to come back out of it again. But John, so what's happened, right? So let's have a little brief synopsis. I mean, there was a lot kicked off in Faith and Fury, wasn't there? There's all sorts of shit kicking off. But back to Baal, and I must admit I didn't realise. So you knew a bit about this. There's already been a book, haven't there? So there's already been a sort of like fight one.
Yeah, exactly.
The Nids have already gone in.
Yeah. There was an epic fight between who's the main Blood Angels guy? Who's the old guy? What's the chapter master, or what's his name?
Do you know what? It's almost like I've got that shit in front of me.
I can't remember what his bloody name is now. Dante, that's it. So Dante had a big old...
The guy that's apparently 1,000 years old, like, or some nonsense.
That's right. He had a big old ding-dong with the Swarm Lord. It was an epic battle. Tyranids were absolutely ripping the heart out of Baal and just draining it of all resources. And then for some weird kind of out there reason, Khorne turned up, probably because that's really what Blood Angels are,
a little bit,
and kind of drove off the Tyranids, and the Tyranids just suddenly disappeared for some reason. Again, there's some kind of like conspiracy theory that Tyranids are kind of like a chaos god or something. I don't know. Anyway, there's loads of fan theories about all sorts of different things about Tyranids.
Let's go. But then after all that, this is fight 2, isn't it? This is Joshua versus Ruiz 2.
this is Ding Dong. Here we go.
They are back. So they've turned back up. They are probably a stone heavier than they need to be, and they're getting stuck in, right? And this is where we're at, right? So they turn back up again to a already fucked up Baal, and they are they're in for the next hit. And I mean, I haven't spent a million years reading the fluff because I'm still actually reading the story from the last one. It's they're coming too fast is the truth of it. I can't really keep up with it. But from what I can understand is there seems to be some sort of a where did I read it? There's something that they suspect there's something in the planet which is drawing the Nids to them, or something that they want. I don't know if they extrapolate that much more, but there's something drawing them to it.
I think it's Necron nonsense again, isn't it? Apparently, I don't know.
Is that could be? Is that could it be? I'm trying to sort of read this now.
I don't know. I think there's some talk about a bit of the old bromance of Necrons and Blood Angels sparking up again.
Necron, oh my word! The ward is strong. We're back. The bro down.
Down.
He was apparently seen at Games Workshop a year ago, so this could be why.
This is it.
They could have brought him back in. Matt, mate, what's up? We need you to come back in. Why? Because we've got this story about Blood Angels and Necrons. We just can't make it work. Come on in. No one will know it's you, mate. We don't put authors' names on stuff anymore. Come on, you'll be all right.
And he turned around and went, "I'm not interested." And they went, "We'll let you deep strike Land Raiders. I'm coming. I'm on my way.
I'm on my way.
Sign me up."
What's that?
Where do I sign?
I can deep strike them. I'm in. Right. Well, there we go. So anyway, we're already talking about Blood Angels. Let's talk about your beloved books. Come on, John. You tell me what's going on. What do you get?
Right. So what happens? Right. So we'll kind of go blah blah blah, and I suppose what I will say is I'm going to be really brutally honest about where it actually sits as far as the meta. So there's some stuff in there where we can be really positive about because a lot of this is improvements on where we are, but there's the reality check of what the current world we live in, and that is a world of Space Marines. So we have to kind of take things into perspective to a degree. So let's talk about this. So what we've got is the first thing that probably the most notable thing is like what they're doing with most kind of things that get in a reboot or add-on is they're giving you these kind of create your own chapters, right? So with Tyranids, you've got what's called hive fleet adaptations, and a bit like the kind of create your own chapters, you can pick 2 of these.
It's going to be really broken, right? Or just broken.
Shut up! I can hear the sarcasm in your voice already. But unlike Space Marines, you can't kind of have your cake and eat it. So you can't layer it onto your original hive fleets. If you decide to go for these, that's it. You get rid of your Leviathan or your Kraken or your Kronos, and you just make your own, and you pick 2 of these, and that's your bag.
So you can't stack these on like Jormonger or whatever it is with the +1 cover. You can't stack onto that.
No, you can't. You can't take any of these on top of what you've already got at all. You have to just start again.
That's pretty big, isn't it? To be fair,
it is pretty big, and that's where you'll probably find, where we come to a bit of a conclusion on it. But whether these are stronger, even with 2 of them, I'm not sure. But we'll talk,
if you had your main one and add some on, it's not so bad, is it?
Yeah, the only advantage of it is what we don't have to worry about is you can still have multiple hive fleets within one army, and it doesn't break any of your rules or anything like that. So you can have multiple. So if you pick a certain collection of units that are going to benefit hugely from one particular hive fleet, then you can go, well, I'm going to put that in its own detachment, and that's going to do well at that, and what have you. So you can specialize a little bit, and you can kind of soup within the Tyranids from that, which is something, I suppose. That's when
can you still tag team in Gene Stealer Cult? Is that sort of that mentioned?
Yeah,
so you could have, so that's fine. So okay,
yeah, you can do all that as well. So
it's not terrible, is it?
No, so you don't break anything, so you don't have to go like super pure on things. But anyway, so we'll jump into them and we'll kind of scan through them, because I've kind of looked at these in a lot of detail, and a lot of them are just real turd burger, to say the least.
We've got to make this last an hour, right? Come on.
Yeah, I know. So
we need a little bit of positivity.
This is it. Right. Okay. So.
Well, do you want to start first? Let's start bio artifacts, right? Let's talk about them.
No.
You don't want to bother with them.
I will. I'll come back to them. I just think the Hive Fleet adaptations are the important bit, and then we'll go back to the bio artifacts. So.
Okay.
Okay, right. So you've got adaptive exoskeleton, which is a 6+ invuln for your little bugs that are weak and useless. So termagants, hormagaunts, and gargoyles. It's quite interesting on gargoyles, because gargoyles have got a quite significant points decrease. So now they're the same points as hormagaunts, which makes them a little bit more playable. So that's quite interesting.
The little guys with the flamers, right?
No, so the gargoyles are obviously the ones with the wings. So they're like the gaunts with wings. Yeah.
Yeah, but didn't these have a little flamer on them back
in
the day?
No.
Okay.
They've never had a flamer. But yeah, they've got blinding venom, which is basically in combat, if they kind of do a wound, they can make you -1 to hit. But other than that, they're pretty poop. They're just termagants with wings.
Okay.
They can deep strike in. They've got a few little stratagems and stuff like that we'll cover later. But now they're the same points as hormagaunts. They're interesting, because obviously a big unit of like 30 gargoyles in your face with a few little stratagems can be a bit of a slow down unit, a bit of an irritation. So because they've got fly and stuff like that, they can be handy. But I still think a 6+ invuln is just not good enough. Then you've got bestial nature, which is this one makes me laugh. This is so shit. It's fucking ridiculous. Right, add 2 to the attacks characteristic of a model with this adaptation that has a damage table while using the bottom row of a model's damage table.
No, so we're talking fluffy. It's fluffy. When they're getting, it's like bullshit. The Hulk in it. They get really angry as they get weaker.
And they also can't hit a fucking barn door as well.
Yeah, but these aren't always written to be super OP, right? Only Space Marines get that kind of treatment.
Most of our big bugs hit on 5s when they're in their bottom bracket. That is absolute turd burger, and most of them only have 3 wounds left as well at that point, probably at maximum. So
what we're saying is it's all right. We'll put that in the all right pile.
Then you've got metallic cysts.
Sounds like something I had last year. I had biometallic cysts.
This one's quite good. This is one of the better ones. So this has improved the armor penetration characteristic of scything talons that models in this adaptation are equipped with by 1. So basically that means like hormagaunts now have -1 on all their talons, and also the bigger bugs then go to -4 on their talons.
That's good though, because if you want to run the tide.
Yeah,
and you're running hormagaunts, which are pretty quick, right, at the best of times. And there's numerous ways you can bring them in and do tricks with them and shit. Having them all -1 is pretty good, though, right?
It is good. Yeah,
that's
definitely.
That's not -1 to 6. That's just -1.
Just -1.
Yeah. All right. We'll put that one in the all right pile.
And it's quite good on warriors as well, because obviously sometimes with warriors you just want to keep them cheap and cheerful for their shooting weapons. So
for those of us like me who don't play it, what's got a Siphon Talon then? Tell me what benefits.
What does Siphon Talon do? You mean?
No. What models have Siphon Talon?
Okay, so
special things, right? So what's going to get a benefit from that?
So Raveners get them, warriors get them, all the big bugs get them, and then that's roughly about it. So warriors, Raveners, hormagaunts. You can give them to Gene Stealers as well. So if you want, you could go, and in fact you always do give them to Gene Stealers.
There's no point, exactly.
Yeah, definitely. So you can reroll 1. So if you wanted to, if you weren't worried about the rolling a 6, for their rending clause, and you just wanted to just go for like, so if you were going into orcs, for instance, normally what you'd do is you'd still do it anyway because they only have a 6-up save. But now this would mean you would be hitting on 3s, re-rolling 1s because Siphon Talons allow you to re-roll 1s, but then all their hits would be -1, so you'd be going straight through the orcs. So it's quite good. It's actually really quite good.
It benefits a lot, doesn't it? It benefits more than you think.
Yeah, it benefits quite a lot. It's quite a decent one. So then you've got Biosphere Consumption, and this is when a monster with this adaptation would lose a wound. If the monster, and this is dog shit as well. Jesus Christ, why do they do this to us? It's just so poor. Right, so this is right. So when the monster, so it has to be a monster. When the model with this adaptation loses a wound, if the model did not move during your last movement phase, or it is the first battle round, you get a 6+ feel. Yeah, if you do fuck all. It's so bad.
Why is that? Is that because they're eating the biosphere? I assume that is.
Yeah,
so they're too busy. They're eating the grass.
It is.
And when you shoot them, it might bounce off.
And you can't even and you can't even be within 1 inch of an enemy to be able to do it either. It's so bad.
So my Iron Hands get that all the time. So next.
Yeah, exactly. Fucking hell. It's just so shit. Then you've got cranial channeling. This is just so so specific. It's not good as an adaptation. So
it's only once per turn.
Yeah. So when a psychic test,
not like, oh god.
Yeah. So once per turn, when a psychic test is taken for a model with this adaptation, you can reroll the result. So if you're playing really, really psychic heavy army, then you get a lot of rerolls there. It's not bad, but when you want something,
only one reroller, isn't it? It's only one per turn.
No. For each model. So it's for all the different. So if you've got like Zoanthropes, Neurothropes, Hive Tyrants, Brood Lords, all of them have got psychic powers. All of them are going to get a reroll.
So it's one per. All right. So if someone's casting 3. Okay, that's better. I thought it was once per turn total. I was like, what was the point?
Yeah,
that's slightly better.
It's still not good though, because it still means that majority of your army isn't benefiting from something. So it is, again, it's one of them ones that you would want to, if you're going to use it, you're going to build a specific little detachment that's full of psychers to make the most of it. So you might go, if you were going to spam like big blocks of Zoanthropes, you could go like the elite formation. You could put a Neurothrope in your HQ and then 3 big blocks of Zoanthropes. That makes them quite good, but it's very, very situational and very, very specific. So I don't think it's great. It's not as bad as some of the ones we've covered, but it's not super good. Then you've got Feeding Frenzy. This one's not too bad. So when a pile-in move is made with the unit with this adaptation, models can move 6 inches rather than 3 inches. So just quite good to be able to.
Decent. You swarm through then, can't you?
It's not bad to be able to pile in 6 inches rather than 3. Yes, it's quite good.
Did Gene Stealers get that anyway? Or
no.
Would that help Gene Stealers? That would help.
It doesn't really help them too much, because with Gene Stealers, generally what you I suppose it does.
Stratagem, I suppose.
You normally you're using Overrun. With Gene Stealers, you normally tend to want to hit something and then kill it, and then overrun the hell out of there and hide. Or otherwise you're probably planning to wrap them anyway, and because they've got such huge movement, you're not going to need it. So I don't think it's hugely good, but it's not terrible. It's all right. Then we have another hugely shit one. Generally, most of the monster ones are shit. We've got the Horror from Beyond. Ooh,
sounds
scary,
good,
right?
though.
Subtract 1 from the leadership characteristic.
Let's read the fluff. Whether due to some sickening aura or simply their terrifying size and predatory hunger, this hive fleet's larger organisms are so monstrous, John, that few are heroic or insane enough to stand before them. -1. Yeah. Okay.
-1 leadership. Shit.
You'd think that actually, when the fluff is bigger than the rule itself, it's probably not going to be very good.
No.
That's my general belief. Yeah.
And then you've got hypermetabolic. I can't even say it.
Hypermetabolic acceleration.
That's the one. And this one again is naff. It's naff because of Kraken. So when a unit with this adaptation advances, you can reroll the advance roll. Or you could take Kraken where you roll 3d6 and take the highest. Just why would you do it? Why?
Because somebody might like the idea of surges of extragalactic chemicals. What's extragalactic? That's extragalactic is more galactic, right? It's not different galactic. It's extragalactic. Extragalactic chemicals. What?
It's just shit.
I don't even understand the word. That's not even a word. Extragalactic. It's like more galactic. I don't know. Anyway, never mind.
With their stim releasing glands.
I'm looking forward to the next one though. This one sounds good.
This one is a bit like the Psyker one, and it's super situational, right? So this is membranous mobility. Is that how you say it?
Membranous mobility.
Yeah. So when resolving an attack made with a melee weapon against a model with this adaptation that can fly, subtract 1 to the hit roll. So it's -1 to hit in combat for things with fly, which is why this potentially then for gargoyle. So you put this on as well as the 6+ invon save on a gargoyle based army, and then all those gargoyles are -1 to hit. So you're just clogging things up. It also then in that same build you probably take 3 flying hive tyrants. Again -1 to hit them in combat with their 4+ invon. They become a bit of a nuisance to try and kill off. So it's okay, but it's just so situational about a very specific unit base. It's not super strong. So we've got
again in the maybe. Okay, that's fine.
Metabolic regrowth. You can regain a wound at the bin, so it basically gets what your chaos vehicles get.
If you in your beloved Nidzilla, is that not a bad thing?
It's quite good. It for me, it's quite good, I suppose. But I think if you're playing against someone with that, you just kill one completely before you go on to the next one. You just don't chip off lots of little ones. So it's it is sort of it's all right, but it's not as good as having a 2+ save in the open. Anyway, moving on. Morphic sweens.
Morphic sinews. So this is like muscles, men. Muscles.
Monster models with this adaptation do not suffer the penalty for moving and firing heavy weapons, nor advancing and firing assault weapons. Now, I quite like this one.
That one's got to be quite good for your list, surely.
It's quite good because it makes me have quite a lot more range, because it means I'm always advancing with them as well, because they're assault weapons. So
you don't suffer the -to hit, right? So you just run all the time.
Exactly, which makes it quite good for that. Generally, though, the move on most boards gets you where you need to, but it's not bad. It's quite good. I think it's all right. Not super strong, but it's all right. Then you've got pack hunters. This one I seem to remember I quite liked. When resolving an attack made with a melee weapon by this model, this adaptation against a unit that contains fewer models than the model's unit, improve the armor penetration characteristics by 1 for that attack. Which is quite good.
Can you stack that with the other one? So you get up to -2. So when you're bombing with your 30 warmer guns, -2. Well, that's not bad, right?
With your talons. So you take a talon-based heavy army, and then you stack the 2 of them. So and then they become -2. So you can make Hormagaunts really, really quite strong with that.
Yep. Or even Gene Stealers. Gene Stealers now don't need the extra 4, do they? Just go in with your reroll 1s and have -2 is pretty, because they get up to what, units of 20. So the odds are you're going to be bar orcs. You're mostly going to be picking on people, aren't you?
Yeah.
That's not bad. I
think Hormagaunts is the way to go, though. I mean, the Gene Stealers, the problem with the Gene Stealers is they so badly want that Kraken stratagem. And
it's true,
which is a problem. But
just going for massive blobs of 30 is
still good.
But if you because I mean, this is it. Like I said, you can mix and match, can't you? So
exactly,
you could go for your big blob of troops, which you just fill the board up with, and I'm coming at you, and then because they're not expensive, are they? You little dudes, what 4 or 5 points a model?
5 points for a Hormagaunt.
Yeah, so what's that, 150 per 30? You could take 90 of them for not a lot of points.
Nope.
Give them those little things. Couple of
-2.
What would you put them with? What would you stack them? A couple of jeans? No, that's not going to work, is it? What would help them?
What would help them?
Yeah. So if you want to make a little battalion, right? So you take 3 units of 30. What? You give them the -1 to hit floating brain thing.
Yeah, you probably put them like put Malanthropes or Venomthropes behind them, and then like some Zoanthropes for synapse, like
Because you
potentially
need a couple of
behind
HQ,
them.
right? So you've got you've
Yeah,
got the HQ minus one. So you could that's a nasty little
it is. It
detachment.
is. Yeah, if you had like
Because it's not a lot of points,
three
right?
big no three big blocks of those charging up the full board, they're pretty quick, pretty
And
quick.
you got to deal with that because
Yeah, you
it's
have got to
when
deal
it
with it.
hits you, it's going to hurt,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and I mean you could take the Swarm Law to double move them. So
Oh,
again,
that would be nasty.
so yeah, yeah,
All right,
they're decent. They're decent. So I think
I like
that's
that.
yeah, it's quite strong. It's quite strong. Then you've got Prey Sight,
Oh,
which
this one looks good. I'm
if a
liking this one.
monster with adaptation makes a charge move, is charged or performed heroic intervention until the end of the turn when resolving an attack made with a melee weapon, add 1 to the hit roll.
I wasn't
It's
being
not bad.
sarcastic. I actually like that one.
Yeah, it's good.
If you've got your
It's good.
you've got your mass bloody Carnifex army, and they're
It
all getting +1 to hit. That
it
ain't
mean
terrible.
well it means that they're all hit on 2s basically. Because
Yeah.
where the Carnifex normally hits on 4s, but when it
But don't they
charges, it
get
gets
mortals when they
+1.
crash in as well on a
They
certain
do.
dice roll? So
Yeah,
that's
but
going to make
that
your mortals
no,
better, right?
no. The mortals is separate. That happens in the charge
Okay.
phase.
No, that sucks.
But it's still it's good for what this would do. Actually, yeah, thinking about it, thing that's quite funny about this is that would make old One Eye. It would make his attacks on the turn he charge with talons explode on freeze.
Yeah, that's what I
because
mean. Because
he
he
normally
can be in
explodes.
any fleet, right? He's not fleet
He can be
specific.
on any fleet. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that would make his exploding hits on freeze. That's crazy.
So you had him going up the line with some of your dudes. That's
Yeah.
not bad, right?
No, that's
That's why I
quite
was when I
good.
read that because I've played your fucking Nidzilla list, and it's when old One Eye hits, he hits hard. So anything
Yeah, he
that makes
does.
him hit harder, you're going to get a little
Yeah, I mean
stabby on about, aren't you?
he's probably getting about 15 attacks with that.
And he hits
So
like a truck, right? So he'd drop
yeah,
anything.
yeah, he would with that. He will. Yeah, hitting for like 15. Yeah, that makes him crazy. Yeah, because I can't see it's not unmodified or anything like that, and it is just
So there you go.
heroic intervenes.
So
Yeah, I like that.
you have your Hormigant blobs, right? With whatever characters help.
Well,
Then
no,
you have your
hang on a minute. You can't. Well, what in a separate
separate, yeah,
detachment?
separate. And then you have
Yeah,
another one, which is your Nidzilla, your guys,
yeah,
and then you have old One Eye with them. I'd say that's pretty beastly because you're going to get hit with something.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
don't get me wrong. Space Marines can pump out a ridiculous amount of firepower. Don't we know that? But
yeah,
if you've got -1 to hit, that helps. I don't know.
yeah.
It's got some legs, man.
Yeah, I do. I really like that on our One Eye. On our One Eye, that just makes him just
And
so
you just sneak him
hilarious.
up the board with his little buddies, and then just unleash him, which is what
Yeah,
normally happens, right?
yeah. If I had even if you made 2 big detachments, it would almost be worth kind of just taking a patrol with whole One Eye and like a unit of Rippers, and then
Just
just
something, yeah.
put them in that just to make our One Eye just even better.
Because he doesn't help any of his Carnifexes around him, does he? Has he
And
got an aura?
not he does, but not in my list. He doesn't really. He's more there just to be a defensive
Combat,
thing.
just a beast, yeah.
I think I just want to have a quick look. Let me just have a quick check. Because he basically gives +1 to hit Carnifexes within 6 inches, but I'm not sure whether that's Hive Fleet or whether that's just any Carnifexes.
Yeah, but even if that's
Alpha Leader.
Hive Fleet.
It's Hive Fleet. It's Hive Fleet, unfortunately.
Why? Well, you're making your own Hive Fleet, aren't you?
Nah, you don't want the other. The problem is, it all comes back to the Carnifex is just so good having the 2+ save in the open.
Yeah, it's
just so strong because what it does is it just counters all the Space Marines. All the Space Marines with basically a +1 to their AP in all the different phases they want to be. If you've then got a +1 to your save all the time, unless you're playing against something that ignores cover. Now, obviously, we know that there is some strong stuff out there that has that, but unless you're playing that, then it almost says, right, we're back to square one again, guys. And that is super strong in the meta to be able to have that, to sacrifice that and get back to a stage where most of the time your Carnifexes are saving on a 50-50 4+, you're going to lose them that much quicker. And I don't know how much you're going to need that for majority of your rest of your Carnifexes don't need it. They don't need that because they're shooting. So yeah, I don't know. Anyway, we can talk about that further. But so that's that.
Senses of the Outdark though.
Senses of the Outdark sounds cool. This one's the one that everyone was going a bit nuts with because generally every Tyranid player is still in the mindset of there's one single build for us and there's nothing else we can do, which is just sort of 60 Gene Stealers and Swarm Lords. Yeah. And I get it because it is probably still our strongest build. It has some horrible counters, but I find it a bit boring personally. It's just me. But so people were going a bit apeshit around this because when a model with this adaptation loses a wound as a result of Overwatch, you can roll dice on a 4+ the wound's not lost. So obviously Gene Stealer is one of their worst things is Overwatch. What's one of the things that just kills them more than anything else is Overwatch. So to have that is quite strong. So yeah, I think it's all right.
Would that stack with the 5+ that you get from the psychic power? I'm asking now.
Yes, it would.
Oh, wow. I mean, okay, you're going to get your Gene Stealers in, right?
Actually, no, I don't think it will. I don't think it will stack with it because I think there's other things that says that you can only take one of those. I think it's a precedence thing, so I think that wouldn't stack. Okay. But you take a 4+ anyway, wouldn't you? 4+ is not bad.
Well, it's going to help, right? Well, 5+ 4+ because you
4+. Yeah.
No, so you 5+ invul, then your 4+ is equivalent to what, a 2+, 2+ or 3+. It's gonna help. It's gonna be a 3. You're not gonna lose a knot, right?
No, probably a 3+. So yeah, it's decent. It's decent. Whether it's still good enough to go against the Iron Hands when you're overwatching on like 4s is probably not. But anyway, moving on. Then you've got Shrewd Predators.
I don't think that's that strong. I don't know what you're going on about.
Fuck off. Shut the fuck up. Right, moving on. Shrewd Predators. When a model with this adaptation makes a consolidation move and there's no enemy models within 3, the model does not have to move closer to the nearest enemy model. It's clever. It's still super situational and not something that I'd want as a army-wide buff personally.
I mean, it's good on like characters. So you're well, I'm talking about my characters who don't necessarily want to sit in combat. Yeah. It's handy to be able to just run away. You hit me, I run away. It's okay because
the problem is with it is one of the strongest things with Gene Stealers is to overrun stratagem, which is better than this.
Yeah.
Because you just do a whole move wherever you want. So yeah, it's just I don't know. It's just not that great. Then you've got Spore Mist Spines. A unit there's adaptation can advance in the turn which it fell back. It's nothing. Yeah, it's all really. Right. Boring.
But how it's not good. Again, it's just not situational, isn't it? You only want to ever do that like once or twice.
It's just not that great. And then you've got Synaptic Augmentation, which is when a Hive Fleet unit with adaptation was within 6 inches of another Hive Fleet, the Psyker, Synapse creature.
Reroll a single hit. Ugh.
It's rubbish. Because it's not.
It's like 1/3 of Master Artisans, isn't it? Just have have 1/3 of it.
Yeah, exactly. And what's all that about? Why not give me the whole fucking thing? Like, Jesus Christ, makes me angry. Right. Anyway, so
welcome to Cursed Space Marines, dickhead. Right. This is what we've had forever. Right.
So they are the Hive Fleet adaptations. So there's some good stuff in there. No. There's some good stuff in there, and there's some ways to build some stuff that might work quite well, but it's not super strong. Right. Okay. So before we go onto the artifacts, I'm then going to cover the other thing that's really interesting about this. Is probably the most flavorful part of this kind of not codex but extension to the Tyranid rules, because what you've got something called adaptive physiology, right? And this is really quite interesting. So what you can do, and this is kind of our flavor, is instead of giving you a warlord or warlord trait, you can take an adaptive physiology on one of your units, or you can pay a CP to have an additional one. So basically you can have 2 of these. So these are almost like warlord traits that you give to a whole unit. Doesn't have to be a warlord. You just give it to a whole unit, and it has that ability. And you can do this to 2 units.
For a CP.
for a C. If you spend
Progeny
the CP,
of the hive. Ooh.
Yeah. But this is really quite good. This is probably the bit that I like the most of all of this, because there's some cool stuff in here. Cool, right? So you've got a few different things, right? So you've got, and the interesting thing of this is it's split. This is slightly irritating. So it's split between infantry and monster. Some of the infantry ones would be broken as fuck on monsters, and when I scanned Reddit first of all, I got very excited. And then,
did you do the Crimson Fist thing again and get really excited?
Yeah, I did, Simon. I did the Crimson Fist thing, and I was already writing lists, and I was like, this is going to be bust. And then I realised that I was wrong. So we'll cover the infantry ones first.
You're not allowed to have anything bust, mate. It's only Space Marines that are allowed that. We've talked about this.
Tell me about it. So you've got enhanced resilience. This is good. So when resolving an attack made against the unit,
and this is infantry, right? So these are the infantry ones.
These are the infantry ones, yeah.
Okay, cool.
So basically, they get they ignore -1 AP basically. So when resolving an attack made against this unit with a weapon with an armor penetration characteristic of
one or two,
yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's really good. It goes to 0. So this is where something like, for instance, warriors that really struggle because they've only got 4 up armor save. They're 3 wounds each, toughness 4. Not too bad. There's ways of making them even more resilient that we can cover later. You put this on a big unit of warriors, and they suddenly become quite tanky. So it's really, really good. It's really quite strong. So I like that one. Then you've got adrenal webs,
and this is on top of. This is like just for those who aren't NID players. So you've already picked your Hive Fleet, so you can pick Hive Fleet Kraken and then give these 2 stuff in there, right? Cool.
Absolutely.
I'm on the page, my friend. Let's go.
Absolutely. Or in my case, I can give them the Jormungandr, so they've got the cover all the time, which puts them on a 3-up save.
And then the ignore -1 and 2. Yeah, that's cool.
And then there's other stuff I can do to them as well that we'll cover later. So it's quite exciting in that way, as you can tell. Getting a little bit more excited, right? And then a little bit. So you've got adrenal webs. So when a unit consolidates, it can move up to 2d6 instead of 3. That's quite good. It's quite good. So again, like if actually you didn't want to spend the CPs, this is quite good on a unit of Gene Stealers. You know, it's quite nice.
Yeah. Well, or you have 2 units of Gene Stealers and you can do it on one and then do it on the other, right? So you use the CP on one, and then you use that on the other one. But then again, the problem with that is I can just choose to shoot that one first, right? And then
yes, you can. But it's okay. It's not too bad.
It's not terrible. You're right.
Adorant. How do you pronounce this next
abhorrent, and that's supposed to be pheromones. I don't know if that's necessarily the spelling of pheromones. They've seemed to have made up a new spelling in typical Games Workshop fashion. We're back into the world of Age of Sigmar, where everything had AFA with an A in front of it.
Well,
the title in front of everything.
Well, the title's more interesting than the rule. So subtract 2 from the leadership characteristics of a model in the enemy's unit whilst they're within 1 inch of the unit.
You told me that people thought that leadership was coming back. It's getting stronger.
No, right, okay. Then we'll move on quickly. Then you've got dynamic camouflage. When resolving an attack made with a ranged weapon against a model from a unit that is receiving a benefit of cover, add 2 to the save and throw instead of 1.
Good.
It's amazing. And the thing that's quite well, again, you put it on warriors is where I'd put them.
Are warriors back? Like, are they actually generally?
It's interesting. So I think they've dropped a point or 2 points. So
is that just enough to make them a conversation? Is it?
I think it really is. It's quite interesting. So obviously you almost want both of those. But where this is interesting is you can use this with the Jormungandr, right? Because the wording for Jormungandr is you gain the benefit of cover everywhere. So basically what this means is you get 2 to the cover anyway.
Yeah, that's the way I thought of it straight away. Yeah.
So what it means is those warriors have got a 2-up save in the open all the time. Now, unfortunately, they can't have both of those 2 things, so they can only have one or the other. But you could have 1 unit of one and 1 unit of the other, I suppose. But I really like that. I think that's super, super good. You could also give it to Raveners, which is quite good. Raveners,
I haven't seen Raveners on table in ages, to be fair.
Because they have a 5-up save as standard, which is really shit. But taking them to a 3-up is not bad.
But you can tunnel them, can't you? Right? Is that right?
You can tunnel them. Yeah, you can tunnel them.
Yeah, and that's the draw wound or thing, isn't it? As well,
it
that
is.
lets you do that more.
Well, they get it anyway, so they get it.
But they can bring someone up with them, can't they?
They can. So I've been looking at lists where potentially you use the Raveners and you use the Warriors, because they can only bring up infantry. So you have like your big unit of Raveners, they pop up. Then you have the Warriors that pop up behind them. They all shoot their Death Spitters, which are like heavy bolters. And yeah, I think there's something there which could be quite interesting.
And they still get their cover saves when they popped out. It's just only when they run, right? Is that right?
It's only when they run or charge. Yeah.
Okay, that's some play.
I think it's quite exciting. I quite like that. Then you've got unnatural reactions. So this unit can perform a heroic intervention as if it was a character, basically. But it could do it within 6 inches instead of 3.
Oh, okay, that's better. Okay, you got me interested now.
Yeah,
I'm not a particular fan of that because you just play around it. But 6 inches is on a big unit is quite a timely blob, isn't it?
What it means you could do is you can do some shenanigans. So, like, I don't know, for instance, in my list, if I've got a load of big monsters, I put them in the front with no screen, but then have like a unit of Gene Stealers just behind them. Allow somebody then to try and assault me, and then heroically intervene with a load of Gene Stealers that are just out of range of kind of threat range. There's some like counter offensive stuff I think you can do with it. I don't think it's amazing, but I think it's all right. I think it's interesting. And
you can only pick 2, right? So this is going to become the game of which 2 are the most strong, right?
Exactly, because we're going on because the monster ones are great as well. So, but yeah, absolutely. So
that's one. That's the last of the infantry ones.
That's the last of the infantry ones. So then you've got the monster ones, right? So you've got Dermitic Symbiosis. Dermic is skin. So this is some sort of skin-based nonsense. Yeah, that's it. So what they're saying is these guys have got bad skin, right? So that's what we're saying. So this one I like to give to my Exocrine, which I've already given to him. So basically, this model has a 5-up invuln save. In addition, if this model has a damage table, it is considered to be in double the number of wounds remaining for the purpose of the damage table.
Oh, that's like half of what my own hands have. That's cool.
Shut up. But anyway, so but that's really, really good because having a 5-up invuln save on a big beast that's toughness 8, it's really good. Strong. Very strong. And then on top of that, meaning that the Exocrine doesn't have to be shit really at all, is also really, really good. So I really like that on an Exocrine.
Which one's that? Is that the one which has like the machine gun or the
big phallic gun?
Yeah, is that the one that James had when I played him? The flamethrower or was the shotgun thing? Also hit one, or was that the tons of shot?
No, tons of shot one. So it's if it stands
the 40
still,
shot one or something.
No, 12 shots. It's the one that I had against you. I played you had 2 of them in my backfield. Two big guys. Yeah. So it's the one that has the weird strength because it has the strength 7 gun. Strength. It's like
the plasma guys.
It's plasma guys. Yeah. But they're not bad.
Plasma, sorry.
But not bad. Actually quite, because they've had a points drop as well, so they're quite good, and there's some other good stuff in here that makes them interesting as well. Moving on, then you've got ferocious ammunition. At the end of the shooting phase, select one enemy unit that had 1 or more models destroyed in the phase as a result of attacks made by this model, and the unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. So again, it's another good one for an Exocrine because you shoot at something, kill a couple of guys, particularly if you're shooting at like high value targets like Primaris Marines, Centurions, stuff like that. To do an additional D3 mortal wounds at the end is quite tasty.
Yep, and it just goes off, right? So you just have to kill something.
Just got to kill something. So it's good.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I can handle that.
And then you've got accelerated digestion. In the fight phase, when an enemy model is destroyed as a result of an attack by this model, the model regains 1 lost wound. No more than 3 lost wounds can be regained as a result of this rule by turn. Don't like that. It's just not that great. It's all right. It's not super good.
Yeah, it's not great, is it?
The interesting thing with these as well, though, which is something we're expecting to potentially get FAQ'd, is currently you can put these on name characters.
I see. Yeah.
So there's some play around that potentially on a few of these things that just is worth taking into account. I think it'll be FAQ'd, but currently you can put these on your special characters.
Sure. Why not? I mean, obviously we don't want anyone else to be good, right? So.
Exactly. Just to give me that little slimmer of hope and then take it away.
Hope that kills you, my friend. It's the hope that kills you.
Yeah, next one, not really keen on synaptic enhancement. Basically, you just give a unit synapse, and they get shadow in the warp as well. It's all right.
Is it just me, or synapse doesn't really do a lot anymore? I've not noticed. Like back in the day, getting your guys out of synapse used to be a big thing. Now it just doesn't seem to do enough all.
Well, it makes
I don't
them
know if that's
it
by
makes them
design.
fearless. It makes them fearless. So that's interesting.
That's it,
So
right? Yeah.
It also means that like if they're a shooting unit, they can shoot at what they want, because technically, if a unit isn't in synapse range, it has -1 to hit and it shoots at the closest target.
Right. Okay.
And the same with like it has to charge the nearest unit, or it's like -1 to charge, or some nonsense like that. So it doesn't come up very often, but it's handy. But I don't think there's so many good ones in here.
They're not going to pick that.
Don't see you ever going to pick that.
Yeah.
And then you've got, I like this one, monstrous size. I think is really, really good. This can make things super, super tough.
Murderous size, mate. Murderous. Come on.
Okay, murderous or monstrous. Murderous and monstrous.
Well, no, it is just technically murderous. Right?
Well, that's technically what the word says.
Right.
But,
okay.
But
so
let's go in monstrous, right?
In the world of let's not make
English,
shit up, right? Murderous size.
Yeah, murderous size. So before the battle, select one melee weapon that this model is equipped with. Until the end of the battle, add 1 to the strength and damage characteristics of that weapon, and improve the armor penetration characteristics by 1. It's actually really quite good. So there's a lot of stuff you can make super scary by making an additional damage.
This model, so it's only one monster, right?
This is a monster, right? But again, if you put this on, for instance, Old One Eye at the moment, just say he does flat 3 damage on his. In fact, every big monster does, basically with his scythe and talons, does a flat 3 damage. But anyway, flat 3 damage then some becomes flat 4 damage. It also becomes -4, and most of these will become toughness 8 or strength 8 or above. So it makes stuff really quite scary. And yeah, so things like hive tyrants become better. Trigons, any big nasty bug basically gets a lot better by this. It's quite funny on some of the super heavies as well. So the scythe, the barbed, not the barbed Tyragil, but the scythe Tyragil has a bit of play with this as well. He becomes a bit stupid. So there's some fun stuff you can do with this one.
Okay.
I like it. So that's
is it strong enough to be one of your two? Because you can only have 2, right?
I think so. That's one of the ones I consider. I consider that.
Are you definitely? So are we almost like? Because some of those infantry ones are quite good though, right? I do like that.
They are. It depends on your build, doesn't it? Like ultimately, it depends on what sort of how you built your army. But the infantry
how many
ones
wounds is a Tyranid warrior? Because nobody has any love for Tyranid.
3.
Warriors. I always thought they'd be quite cool.
They have 3 wounds each.
Are they quite cool? Are they back? Is there any play in them at all?
There's more stuff to come. So there's more stuff I want to cover on them. So there's
all tied together, right?
Yeah, they're good. They're good. Right. So now let's talk about the artifacts. So the bio artifacts, because these are quite good as well.
There's only 5 of them, isn't
there? There's only 5 of them. Yeah, and these are quite good. They really fit well in my army as well. Really fit well in my army. So you've got how do you spell this? How do you pronounce this? The
resonance barb.
Resonance barb.
Resonance. Yeah.
Renaissance. Yeah.
Renaissance.
Barb. Okay. So
that Essex education ain't helping you, mate, is it?
No, it's not. It's not. That sounds as bad as Darren.
Oh my good God. That's like a double hit. Oh my God. I've sunk 2 battleships.
I know.
Let's go with that. Let's go.
So this is the auto relic. So this is the one that basically fits in almost any Tyranid army and makes it better.
So this is model only. So that's a lot then.
So because we basically always have a Psyker as our HQ models. So a model with this relic can attempt to manifest 1 additional psychic power in your psychic phase and attempt to deny 1 additional psychic power in the opponent's psychic phase. In addition, you get add 1 to the thing. It's really good.
That's beastly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just amazing. And particularly, if you take Neurophropes, you re-roll 1s for psychic powers for Neurophropes. So it just makes them like incredibly effective. So this one's like a bit of an auto. It's really good.
Which you could do. Would you put it on him? Because I do quite like, and I have noticed in the past when people use the old just throw it in your face winged hive tyrant.
Yeah.
If they're casting 2 a turn and denying 2 a turn, remembering that
free a turn.
Free a turn, yeah. I mean, is there actually enough? Yeah, because there's always a power that you have to put somewhere else, isn't there?
Yeah.
So being able to cast free now that's like, well, you don't have to have the second Hive Tyrant for casting, do you? So it's all you ready in one basket. Don't get me wrong, but it's strong, right?
Yeah, and it also means you're more effective with those smite spam, because if you've got neurophropes as well that you're making most of the reroll ones, then you can use this as well to basically make them more reliable. So it gives you more smites out. So I really like it. Exogenic
acid.
That's what I said. Model with toxin sacs only. This relic replaces toxin sacs, and basically they do a mortal wound on a 5+.
But that's not it's unmodified.
Unmodified.
Okay. No, so that's
not great. Not great. It's all right. It's not amazing.
The Venom Fawn Parasite. That sounds like a film. I think I've seen that film once. It was good.
This is good. This is one of mine. So a model equipped with a Stranglethorn cannon or a heavy venom cannon. Woohoo! When a model shoots with a Stranglethorn or venom cannon, do not roll the dice to determine how many shots it has.
Just 6.
Always has the maximum.
That's
3.
Good.
3 for me. So it means that my venom cannons always have 3 shots, which is great on one of them.
Well, it's only one of them, yeah.
Doesn't matter. Well, it's on my Hive Tyrant, isn't it? So I've got 3 Hive Tyrants. So because these are relics, they can only go on your characters anyway. So one of mine takes that. So he's always over 3 shots each time, which is good. And
strength 8 minus
strength,
what?
Strength 9 minus 2, flat 3 damage.
All right, not bad.
Pathogenesis.
Pathogenesis. Not because we've just combined 2 words together and made up a new one. I think
we have
pathogenesis.
And this one goes on one of my other venom cannons. So add 8 to the range.
How many relics are you taking here? You've taken like 400 now, haven't you?
3. I can only take 3 because I'm not a Space Marine.
So you've taken Resonance Bob.
I've taken my 3. I've given my this is my 3. This is my 3rd. So add 8 inches to the range characteristics of a ranged weapon. The model has this relic. In addition, when this model fires Overwatch or in the shooting phase, you can reroll a single hit roll and a wound roll.
Yay! He gets to have Master Artisan.
Yay! But so basically, one of my tyrants has always got 3 shots. The other one is re-rolling a hit roll and a wound roll, and has an extra 8 yeah,
which is big,
which is huge.
Yeah.
So that's really, really good, really, really good. So I just think that's amazing. Basically, it makes 2 tyrants great. And what I could do is I could then take the Misma cannon if I didn't want to take the barb. But I think you're always going to want to take the barb. So the relic from the normal Tyranid Codex, which is basically another relic venom cannon. So I could almost have all 3 of my tyrants with venom cannons. Anyway.
But I think you've just chosen those first 3 just so you don't have to read the next one. But I'm going to make you.
Archetype glands?
Arachnocyte. Something to do with spiders, you think?
Yeah. Okay.
A multi-limbed tendril. Okay.
Okay. So
model with adrenal glands
only. He replaces it, and then he can roll an additional d6 and discard one of the dice when he does an advanced roll. Advanced roll. Not even.
That's when he charges. That's charge. The charges roll 3d6, discard 1.
Yeah.
The advance is at 1.
Yeah, fine. It's quite good, to be fair. It's quite good because adrenal glands gives you +1 to your advance and charge.
No, it replaces them.
So you can't even have that. That's crap. It's all right. It's okay. It's not as good as some of the other. It's not as good as if you had
the other 3, right? That's what we're going to get out here.
Or it's not as good as a chaplain. But there you go. Right.
I'm painting one of them. I don't think they're that good. Anyway,
Shut up. So that's the bio artifacts. So now we have we have 2 more things. We've got the psychic powers or the stratagems. What do you want to cover first?
Psychic powers didn't look that exciting, so tell me I'm wrong.
They are. Yeah, you are. You're wrong.
All right, fair enough. We'll leave them to last then.
Cool.
So let's go stratagems.
Okay, so stratagems.
There's 2 pages of these things.
So there is. So we don't necessarily need to go through all of them because some of them are pretty shit, but we'll go through some of the good ones. So most of these, the interesting thing is what they do is this is Games Workshop going, half your army is dog shit and is unusable. We'll try and make them half usable by giving them specific stratagems, which gives them a bit of play. and that's pretty much the theme of all of these. So the first one is for Toxicrene, so it's 1 CP. It's just for Toxicrene. Basically, it gives you the can't fall back. So basically,
that's the thing with the big massive mouth and all the shit coming out of it, right? Because he looks cool.
No. That's not
the Toxicrene.
No. Toxicrene is Mr. Tickle.
All the arms. Yeah.
All the arms. Yeah. So basically, in the enemy's movement phase, if you're within 1 inch of him, they can't fall. You roll a d6, add in 1 if they're infantry, and on a 3+, the enemy can't. Free piss.
I had a free piss last week too.
The enemy can't fall back. The enemy can't fall back.
On a 3+, he can't fall back, as opposed to just everyone else who just gets one that says you can't fall back.
Go away. Well, it's a 2+ against infantry.
No, it's bullshit though, isn't it? Because everyone else has just got one that says you're locked.
Yes.
Night Lords, you're locked. White Scars. I know White Scars is a 4+ in it.
Anyway.
No. I'm trying to say White Scars might be worse. I think
the White Scars one is a 4+.
But the Night Lord one is just tough.
It is.
And the axe, the word bearer axe is the same in it, tough.
It is. Yeah.
Like it's a shit model anyway. Why not just let it not be fallen back from?
Yeah, I think the reality is a Toxicrene is never getting within 1 inch of anything anyway, because it's dying to shot as it walks across the board.
Yeah, precisely. So why make the effort to make it a little bit better and then not
as good as it could be? So that's what Mr. Tickle gets to try and make him a bit more playable. He also got a significant points decrease in chapter approved, still in my mind not playable. Moving on, then this one is really good and makes an exocrine super powerful.
I'm picking up some love for exocrines. That's what I'm picking up.
Yeah. They were a fringe unit for me, and now I'm absolutely can find room for one in most lists now. So you use a stratagem at the start of the shooting phase, select 1 exocrine unit from your army. Until the end of the phase, that unit is treated as not having moved in the movement phase. That's really good. So the reason why that's very good.
Twice, right?
Yeah, but not only that, if the exocrine sits still, then it shoots at +1 ballistic skill, because the box of exocrine standard ballistic skill is bullshit, because it generally is normally BS4, but if it sits still, it goes to BS3, and then also it can shoot twice if it sits still. So basically, if it moves, it's a heavy weapon. It certainly hits on 5s.
Yeah.
So in this one
now it shoot me twice. You can move, fire, do what you like. And
also, if you take it as Kronos, because you count as standing still, you're rerolling 1s as well.
Yeah. Okay, that's nice.
So it's actually really good, really good, super effective. Then you've got one for lictors. I don't know whether it really makes them playable.
I did hear that lictors might have a bit of a comeback. I don't know if that was true.
I don't know. It's all right. So you
did
just
get a points decrease or something? Was something happen? Or was that just pie in the sky?
Nah, this is what they got basically.
Use
the stratagem. Use this stratagem in the charge phase. Select 1 lictor unit from your army that entirely are within a terrain feature. That's where it screws us. Or was set up on the battlefield using the hidden. Actually no. Hang on. No, okay, so it can deep strike in, so that's fine. As long as it deep strikes in, it gets this. Until the end of the phase, enemies can't fire Overwatch against the unit. In addition,
that could be strong.
In addition, when charge roll is made by the unit, you can add 1 to the result. So it's okay. They're a very.
If you deep strike him in and then charge, he's basically your. I mean, how much is 1 lictor? How much would you pay for 1 lictor?
It's like 30 points, 35 points max.
That's much cheaper than my Warp Talons, and he does the exact same thing.
Yeah.
That's not terrible.
It's not terrible at all. Exactly. So it's quite good.
Bearing in mind that the one thing Nid's never had any shortage of was CP, right?
That's right.
You guys just you spawn
easy.
CP.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous how much CP you guys had.
Super easy to get 3 battalions, easy, and it's even pretty easy to build brigades. So yeah.
All right. Okay. That's
cool. It's all right. It's not bad.
I think you take one if you're going close combat.
If you're in close combat, yeah, I think there's definitely turn 2. You've got some play there. I like it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's good. Then we've got a Hormagaunts one, Feral Instincts. So use a stratagem in the fight phase. Select 1 Hormagaunt unit from your army. Until the end of the phase, improve the armor penetration characteristic of the melee weapon by an additional 1. So this is -3 Hormagaunts.
That's getting pretty. It is getting pretty tasty, man.
It's quite saucy, isn't it? That is quite spicy. It's a spicy meatball.
Well, if you're making your battalion with what 90 of them little bastards,
90 hormigons, yeah.
Something's going to get in, and when that one thing gets in, because of the way you've stacked it out, that suddenly can become quite nasty.
Yeah.
I like that. That sounds good.
One unit of -3 is quite crazy. Hormigons hit.
Well, you're going to rip through shit. How many hits each? 3, 4?
3 attacks each. Rerolling ones.
Yeah, okay, that's going to hurt. It's going to hurt anything.
They're only strength 3, which is
who cares though? You're just going to roll a fuck ton of dice. You're going to roll a lot of 6s, right?
You are, absolutely. So now this is the mouth guy. This is the one you're on about. This is Horospex.
What is he called? Horospex. He is the coolest looking model you've got, though. I will always say that. I always liked him. He looks nasty as shit.
He is. He's the other part of the X-Crime kit.
Yeah. And I always liked him because he just looks like he's going to eat everything, but his rules have just forever been wank, right?
And he's got a massive points decrease. And people are saying he's interesting. Anyway, so
what is he like? Interesting at parties, or what?
He's got some great tales.
He's got some good stories.
He's got some great. He's got some good banter. He's got a fair bit of banter. This lad.
Back in the day when he used to get invited to all the parties.
So use this stratagem in the fight phase when the Horospex unit in your army is chosen to fight. Until the end of the fight phase, when resolving an attack made by this model, you can re-roll the hit roll. So it's all right. How many
attacks does he have?
Well, he gets with his maws, which is his mouth, he gets D3 attacks per attack. So I think he gets I think he can get up to about 15 attacks, something like that. But he does hit. But he does hit on 4s.
Yeah, not much you can do about that, is there? But reroll hit makes him hit. What's that? An effective? Yeah, I don't know. It's not terrible.
He's got a bit of play. He's very, very cheap now. But he's still going to generally just get shot shit. But anyway, he is toughness 8, which is quite nice. Then you've got
a lot of wounds in he? 12, 13, something like that?
12 wounds. 12 wounds, toughness 8, 3 up save.
Not that awesome.
They're pretty quick.
Dies easy enough, though.
So the next one I really like, another way of trying to make a unit that's not that great. So this is for Morlocks. Use this stratagem in the movement phase when a Morlock model from your army is set up on the battlefield using Terror from the Deep ability. When determining the number of mortal wounds the enemy unit suffers from the ability, add 2 to the roll.
Morlock's the big fucking snake-looking thing, right?
That's right. The one with the big mouth. The big mouth.
Yeah, he's cool. I like him.
Yeah, he's awesome. So basically, the Terror from the Deep ability means you can basically set the model up just outside an inch away from the enemy when he comes up. He can't charge.
Well, you can't charge. Yeah.
Can't charge. So basically, he comes up and he does mortal wounds to everybody that's within 2 inches of him. So if you've got multiple units that he can get within 2 inches of, he can do mortal wounds on everything. And what it means is basically on a 4+. He does 3 mortal wounds.
Okay.
To the unit. Yeah, because that's how because you add 2 to it, it means that you get a 4 and it's 3 mortal wounds. So it's quite good. It's all right. It's not bad. And he's very, very cheap as well.
He used to be in everyone's list back in the day, didn't he? And then he sort of kind of disappeared, didn't he, again?
Yeah, he's good. He's a good little distraction unit, and he's good at taking out. So he's
how many points is he these days? Did he get cheaper or?
Yeah, he's really cheap. He's like 110, 120. I think he's 120 points. I think. Now.
Really?
Yeah.
That's not bad.
12 wounds. He's only toughness 6.
Yeah, but like I said, you got to kill that fucker, haven't you? Because he's got a lot of attacks. If memory serves me right.
He's got shit tons of attacks, and I think
you got to kill him, haven't you?
He's quite good with that. That if you give him that monstrous size one, the ability, so make all of his, because his attacks, he's got loads of attacks that are only 1 damage each, to make them all 2 damage each. It's really, really good, because I think he gets like 7 attacks, and they're all like hitting on 4s, but they're rerolling 1s. If they're all doing 2 damage each and they're strength 7 because of the +1 strength, he actually could do quite a lot of damage in combat as well. And then he's got like some special attacks as well, because he gets 1 attack with his mouth, which is a lot more nasty, that does D6 damage, and his tail does D3 damage. So he gets those attacks as well. So in all, he gets like 9 attacks in all, something like that. So yeah, he's all right. Normally what happens though, he comes up with an inch, does a few mortal wounds, and gets shot to shit and dies before he ever gets to attack.
You've got 3 of them for only 110 points each. That's I'm just going to say it's not bad, is it? Because you just force people to have to deal with it. I always like that in the list. If you can't just, we're not all Space Marines at the end of the day, are we? So you do need a degree of discretion, carnifexes, to use the phrase, and pop it something like that. And if it's not a lot of points, I don't know, it's just not terrible.
Well, this is and also he cuts down deep striking and kind of ability, because he can just be a bit of a like an area to kind of stop. He's 104 points.
104. Jeez.
104. So,
all right, I like that.
Yeah,
honestly, 104. He's a big model, a big ass model.
Big ass model for 12 wounds.
What's your high fleet that gives you the 6 up feeling of pain? Because that's what I'd be going with him. Because he just makes him 14 to 15 wounds.
You need synapse for that to work, and he's not a synapse creature.
Yeah, but you can drop a hive tyrant near him, can't you?
You can. Yeah, that's Leviathan. Leviathan gives you that.
So you take 3 of those. They're heavy support, right?
They're heavy support, yeah.
Take 3 of those guys and a hive tyrant. Boom.
Yeah.
They all pop up. Hive tyrant pops down.
The other thing that's quite nice about them as well is they can, if they're not within 3 inches of an enemy, they can burrow down again and come up later. And they've not been FAQ'd, so there's no way they can come up whenever. So they can come at last turn of the game.
Okay.
Which is quite handy. So,
but if you've got nothing on the table, you lose anyway, don't you? Same as anyone.
Yeah, exactly.
Boots on the ground still a thing, right?
Yeah, definitely. But if you wanted like behind enemy lines or like line breaker, they're really good for that. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So they're okay. Then you've got
for 104 points, they're better than okay. They're potentially
they're decent.
They're
painful.
Pain in the ass is what they are.
Yeah, they are.
Awesome. Good.
So then you've got buried threats. This is the Ripper stratagem for all my units of Rippers. So use a stratagem in the movement phase when a unit of Rippers from your army is set up on the battlefield using the burrow ability, which is basically deep strike.
-1 hit him. All right,
yeah,
okay.
-1 hit.
Okay.
Well, what it's good for is like if they're on that objective that you really want to sit on that objective, they're actually quite hard to clear.
To get shift up. Yeah, I know. I've had this before with them. For little tiny little things on the floor, they're pain in the ass.
And particularly in my high fleet, they have a 5-up save, so that's not bad. 5-up save, a few wounds, they're quite good. And then you've got Games Workshop being trolls. The next one is called Savage Distraction. Never guess what they're trying to do. Distraction carnifex. Real funny. So use a this is really complicated as well. This is like a pain in the ass. So use a stratagem in the fight phase when an enemy unit is destroyed as a result of an attack made by a model in the high fleet, whatever, unit from your army. In your opponent's next shooting phase, when resolving an attack made with a ranged weapon by an enemy model within 6 inches of that high fleet unit against another unit from your army, subtract 1 to hit roll. So basically, if you've got one of your models right next to them or close to them, and they try to shoot,
you're -1 if you don't shoot something. Okay.
If you're -1 if you try and shoot at anything other than that model that's standing next to you.
And if that unit happens to have one of your -1 things on it, it's then -2. Okay, it's all right.
It's very, very situational. Very situational.
It's one of those situational things that you'll forget about, but if you remember it, it could be really good.
Yeah.
That's my view. Page 1 done.
Then you've got High Fleet Instinct.
Or just Hive Instinct. There's no High Fleet. Hive Instinct. Yeah.
All right. Jesus Christ.
We're doing a review. Review it properly. These little kids looking for High Fleet Instinct.
Shut the fuck up.
Also saying to their mum, what's fuck mean? Because they say it a lot. If you're a kid, don't do that. Right, I don't want to get in trouble, for God's sake.
If you're a kid, don't do that. Kid, don't be listening.
Don't listen to this.
It's not appropriate.
Jesus. Not appropriate. I'm a father, damn it. Just can't be having these kids listening to this stuff.
Use a stratagem in the charge phase. Select one enemy unit that's within 1 inch of a high fleet synapse creature until the end of the phase. When charge rolls are made for a friendly unit of that high fleet, you can roll an additional dice and discard one of them. That's it basically.
It's all right, isn't it?
Again, really, really situational. So it's like if your Hive Tyrant's in there, basically. So your Hive Tyrant's jumped in, he's made the charge, he's got in there. Then the other guys that join the fray get a bit.
Could be okay, but like you said, probably a bit. Yeah.
Unyielding this now. Here we go. Tyranid warriors.
Unyielding Chitin. Not even Chichin. I think it is pronounced Chichin. Yeah, I think it is pronounced that way.
It's their armor. It's their anyway.
Tyranid warrior. Here we go.
Tyranid warriors. Here we go. So use this stratagem in charge phase. or in your opponent's shooting phase, when a Tyranid Prime or Tyranid Warrior unit from your army is chosen as a target for the attack made by the ranged weapon, until the end of the phase when resolving attacks made with ranged weapons against this unit, deduct the damage characteristic of the weapon by 1 to a minimum of 1 for that attack. So really good, because you stacked all those other things on them. Now they're also minusing 1 to the damage as well.
Yep.
It's good.
I like that. That's not bad.
Really good. How the hell do you say the next word? Right. I can't say that.
Well, the obviously you've got phallic, right? That's the end bit. So you've got encephalic.
Encephalic diffusion.
What is that?
And this again is taking a unit that no one has ever seen on the board. Do you know what a Maleceptor is?
Yeah, it was a bike in Mad Max. he had the Maleceptor. I'm fairly sure he was driving the Maleceptor.
Have you ever seen the Tyranid?
I don't even know what it is. What is a Maleceptor? No, seriously, what is it?
The Maleceptor is the other part of the Mr. Tickle kit. So he's the one that's like looks a little bit more squat and's got kind of like a brain in his back.
I'm not even gonna lie to you. I've never even seen Mr. Tickle on the table, so I don't even know what chance we've got of seeing this guy. This is where we are. I'm actually going to go onto the internet. I need to know.
It's a really cool model. It's a really cool model. Yeah.
Has it ever been used?
How many points of Tyranids have I got? Roughly
10 million.
I have almost 30,000 points of Tyranids.
And you still don't have him.
How many Maleceptors have I got? None. How many Mr. Tickles have I got? None. So that model is one model that I've just not bought because it's been, since it's launched, it's been so bad. I've not been able to justify spending 50 quid on a model that is got the most horrendously shit rules ever.
It looks cool, apparently. Let's have a look. I'm going in, right? I'm going into the website.
You've got to have a look at it. I really like it. I really like this unit.
Does this make you want to take it?
Yes.
Encephalic diffusion. Yes.
It's really good.
So you might have to actually buy the model.
I might have to buy it, so which is why they've actually
won. Yeah.
They have. Yeah. It's 2 CPs this one. So while you have a look at this cool looking model, use a stratagem.
What is it? What literally what is it in? Right, there we go.
What do you mean?
Was it fast attack, elite? What is it?
Elite.
Okay, I'm in.
It's a psycho bug.
I still think the Haruspex is awesome. I love that.
Yeah, the Haruspex is a cool looking model as well. I have got that.
Yeah, with a big claw coming out of its mouth.
Yeah, it's good.
It's not even in here. It's not an elite. You don't know what you're talking about. It's not an elite.
It's not elite.
No.
Is it fast attack then? Must be fast attack.
It's just bad if you don't even know what it is.
No, I know.
Not fast attack.
It is elite. It is definitely elite.
Oh, they don't sell it anymore then. What's it called?
They do. It's called a
Maleceptor. Right, I'm doing it. Maleceptor. Oh, there it is. Right.
It is an elite, right?
Well, I don't know. It's not in the elite slot.
I'm pretty sure it's an elite.
I've just typed it in. That's a shit looking model, man.
Do you think? I really like it.
It's cool. It's just like a big Carnifex, right?
Yeah, but it's cool. But I like Carnifexes, so. I like its head. I like its like little kind of squashed kind of. It reminds me of like a bulldog.
It doesn't look like it's got any eyes. It just looks like it's got its head down. It's going to charge.
Yeah, but it's cool. I love it.
It's got some brains in it. All right. So what does it do? Literally, what does it do?
It's a psycho bug. So it does like a kind of. It's a psycho, yeah. So it has like a sort of special kind of like almost like a blast bit that hits units around it. It's really shit normally, but this stratagem is quite good. So
actually, now I've just done a little 360 on it. I quite like its body shape.
Yeah,
with
it's
a big
cool.
Sort of like thing on top, and it goes into like it looks a bit, like the old Sphinx type model. With the sort of it looks like it's like a prowling dog type back tail. You're right. That's got a little bit of bulldog about it.
I like it. I like it.
Okay.
So
I have no idea. 45 quid. All right. Not bad. I don't actually know what it is. Right. I'm still trying to find its actual slot. I think it's heavy support.
I don't think it's heavy support. I'll tell you.
Heavy support. It's heavy support.
Really?
100%.
Fuck.
So you're competing with some.
Yeah, you. Well, the thing is, I think you take heavy support formation detachments quite often in Tyranids because the heavy support is really good.
I suppose you're going to take your 9 Carnifexes, aren't you? At least,
yeah, exactly.
And then tag him on.
Yeah. So,
right. Okay, interesting.
So this stratagem. So use a stratagem at the start of the turn. Select one Malaceptor model from your army until the end of the turn. When resolving an attack made from a ranged weapon against friendly units within 6 inches of that model, subtract 1 to the weapon's strength characteristics to a minimum of 1 for that attack. So it makes basically anything within 6 inches of him -1 strength when trying to shoot at it.
Now hang about. So the end of the turn, resolve an attack made with a ranged weapon against a friendly unit. Oh,
Yep.
right, okay.
Yeah. So basically, if I've got like all my Carnifexes around him, he uses a stratagem.
So why? Then Carnifexes are what? Toughness
7.
Okay, so it makes strength 8, strength 7. All right.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Because strength 8 being the.
But the interesting thing is that it makes them bolters wound them on 6s.
Yeah. Okay.
That's strong. Because when bolters are needing 6s to wound me, that's quite good.
Yeah, it's true.
Because when you're already -1 to hit me, and I've got +1 to my save, that's making.
Got to do that every turn. I mean, if that was you spend 2 CP and he gets that for the game, I'm kind of with you.
But I'm not saying that it's a guarantee to be putting in your list, but it's interesting.
It is interesting. You're right.
It has play, I think.
Well, there is a lot of strength 4 and there's a lot of strength, but because it doesn't really help. So your toughness what? Toughness 7.
Yeah.
So strength 4, you're right, makes 6s. Strength 5 makes no difference. Makes no difference. Still on 5s, right?
Yeah.
But it's going to be 8s to 7s and 4s to 3s, right?
They're the ones. Yeah. But also, I mean, that's just on mine, for instance. But again, if we're looking at like the warrior situation, for instance,
because they're toughness 5, right?
Toughness 4.
Oh, they're only 4.
But again, it means that bolters wound them on 5s.
No, 5's not 4. Yeah, okay.
It's a big deal. So there's some.
Yeah, and there's just your Primaris heavy armies are.
Well, this is it.
Stacking a lot of stalker bolters, which just with all of the nonsense shenanigans.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Quite a lot of the dangerous weapons are doing damage once they wound, and they're still quite low strength. So stuff like that.
Colour me interested.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Then you've got aggressive adaptation. Use a stratagem in the fight phase when an enemy unit is destroyed as a result of attacks made by this hive fleet. Until the end of the battle, you can improve your armor penetration by 1. So we can make those Hormagaunts -4 once they've killed a unit.
Yeah, all right.
It's all right. It's not that great, to be fair. I don't think
it's all right. Point on you.
I mean, look, this one is good for the Gene Stealer army, because the Gene Stealer army, the first unit of Gene Stealers hits a unit, it kills the unit, it then makes its stuff extra -1. So that's quite good. And this is where, so if you decide to just stick to Kraken because you want all your movement shenanigans, you want all your other good stuff, you just use this stratagem. So then all their claws are like -2. Or their talons are -1. So that is good. It's only 1 CP. I think it's really good for certain builds.
Yeah. The next one looks interesting. It reads interesting, but I don't know.
Synaptic channeling. Use a stratagem of the psychic phase. Flip 1 psyker of the enemy from your army until the end of the phase. It knows all the psychic powers from your army.
That looks all right, right?
It's good. It's really good. It's great. It's situational, but it's still a toolbox.
Cast free. Yeah. With guy cast free, that's not bad, right?
Well, the thing is, it's good for the other guy that isn't him.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because basically, what you do is you're using it on probably on one cycle that's got like 1 power or 2 powers, but it means you can use any of the powers across your whole army. So it's quite good. It's all right.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with that.
So here we got this is an interesting one. Sky Swarm Fusillade.
Is this interesting? Because I just read it and I don't see the point. So tell me there's a point, please.
So right. So basically it means your gargoyles can shoot all their guns in combat, but you can also then make their flesh borers better.
Okay.
Right? So you can make their flesh borers +1 to wound, reroll 1s to wound.
Okay, but do you need them to be pistols? Because again, well, I suppose you can wrap with gargoyles, can't you?
Yeah. So what you're talking about, you're jumping in. You're gonna shoot first of all. You're gonna charge, then you're gonna wrap, and then you're gonna do this.
Because they can fly, potentially. Yeah, okay.
It's all
maybe
right.
some playing that. Maybe
it's all right. Again, it's super. What you find with all of these, which is probably the biggest problem with these, a lot of them are good. Almost every single one is super situational and super specific.
I mean, it's very much like. I mean, are you still with all these stuff? Are you still going to want to bring gargoyles? I mean, that's my question.
It's not at the top of my list, but they've potentially got play. I have been looking at them. I'm not sure, but they're not at the top of my list. But there you go. But that's not my favoured build style. But I can see some strength there. Then you've got psychic fissure. What's fissure? I've never heard of fissure.
Well, a fissure is normally like a crack in the ground or something, but I don't really know.
Use a stratagem at the start of the opponent's psychic phase until the end of the phase. Then psychic test is taken for an enemy unit within 12 inches of a synapse unit, and it's failed. The enemy unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. It's 2 CPs. My problem with it. I think it should only be 1 CP. But
it's not great, is it?
It's not 2 CPs worth.
Well, can you stack it with the?
Yes.
Didn't you have the other one does it again?
You can make him.
Chronos.
That's right. So you can make him do multiple but it's a lot of CPs to try and. I mean, if you've got that elder Farseer that happens to be stupid enough to be that close, then punish him by all means.
Or Thousand Sons. Thousand Sons probably wouldn't like that.
Again,
it's situational, right?
But they've got the extra range, so again, it's so because they've played badly if they're that close to you. They don't need to be, do they? Because they get 24-inch smite anyway. So then you've got the last one, which is Hunter's Drive. Use a stratagem in charge phase. Select 1 hive fleet unit in your army until the end of the phase. When declaring a charge against an enemy unit that had 1 or more models destroyed as a result of the attacks made by ranged weapons by a friendly synapse model that turn, roll 1 additional d6 and discard 1 of the dice for making the charge roll. It's super situational again, just so situational. Like, I think the thing I really like about a lot of these stratagems and a lot of this stuff is as a Tyranid player, it makes you really think. It's very toolboxy. There's loads of really good stuff in here. There's loads of stuff that if you get it down to a fine art, there's no way your opponent can second guess you because there's so many tricky little combinations. And
but then you've got to remember it. That's the issue, isn't
you've got to remember it.
I'm shit with that, so you know that. I'll forget half my crap.
There's some good stuff in there. The X-Crime one's amazingly good. The Warriors one's amazingly good. There's some stuff in there that's okay. The Maleceptor one's got a lot of play. There's some good stratagems. Definitely some good stratagems. So the last thing we've got to cover before we summarise is the psychic phase, psychic powers.
Yes, this is the one that I mean I just literally because they seemed. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's just a new psychic power for every.
There is.
For every So it's like what the Space Marines got in the last book with an extra prayer for everyone, right? Except these are going to be decent.
Exactly. So, I've not looked at a lot of these because I don't ever plan to play a lot of these. But you've got Behemoth, Unstoppable Hunger. Unstoppable Hunger. So this is warp charge value of 7, which is quite heavy for Tyranids, and most of ours are 5 or 6.
Yeah, if you're going for this, you've got that many little things that help you, right? Plus one this and do this and do that. Exactly. So you're not going to struggle that badly, are you?
No, you're not. Select 1 friendly Behemoth unit within 9 inches of the Psyker until the end of the phase when resolving an attack made by the melee weapon. This model, add 1 to wound roll. It's good.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Oh, it's handy, especially when you've got little things with strength 3.
But Behemoth's all around big monsters, so it's on your big stuff generally.
That's all right. You cast that on old One Eye, and he's ripping shit out of everything, isn't
he? Yeah. Well, Behemoth is reroll charges.
Okay.
That's what
not bad then.
That's their special ability. Then you've got Kraken, Synaptic Lure. So warp charge of 5. If manifested, select 1 enemy unit until the end of the turn. When a charge roll is made, by any friendly Kraken unit against that unit, you can re-roll the result. So it's really good.
Right.
It's really good.
Messing around with people.
Good. Well, but it's also Kraken's all around charging.
But it's you re-roll the result as well, isn't it? So you roll the dice for them. I like that. Anything that pisses people off by rolling their dice for them is always fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you re-roll the result. It's not they re-roll it. So you roll 2 dice and go, nah, I've just rolled a double 1 because I'm good at that.
Yeah. No, it's quite funny.
Solid.
So then you've got Leviathan, Hive, Nexus. So warp charge value of 6. When manifested at the start of the psychic phase, range synapse range is 18 rather than 12. It's dog shit. Absolute shit.
Doesn't sound exciting to me.
No, it's not exciting. Then you've got this. Oh, has it got more? Oh, then you've Gorgon. Right. So Gorgon next. This warp charge of 6. Manifested the psychic phase. Improve the armor penetration characteristics of melee weapons of any unit within 9 of the psychic by 1. So we can have
your
minus 5.
Minus 5.
No, we can't. Because because that has to be the homebrew thingy. So
you're right. Okay, we can't do that.
We can't do that. That's a shame. We have to stick with 4. Have to stick with minus 4. Well. Right, so now we get onto the exciting ones. This is
the stuff you care about.
Stuff I care about. So you've got Lurking Moors. So Lurking Moors has warp charge value of 6. If manifested, select one enemy unit that's visible, so any unlimited range, until the end of the turn when resolving an attack against a unit made by a friendly Jormungandr unit that was set up on the battlefield that turn. You can re-roll hit rolls.
That's pretty good. But Jormungandr, these are the guys that get the extra cover because they're hiding underneath the ground, aren't they?
They're the burrower guys. So when I was talking about earlier, so if you think, so you've got a big unit of Death Spitter warriors, big unit of Ravelers, for instance, they come up out of the ground, uses psychic power from your Neurothrope that's right in your back lines because you don't need to be in range, and then those guys are all then re-rolling hits. If they've come up with a Tyranid Prime, they're now hitting on freeze, re-rolling with basically.
Tyranid Prime's the warrior character, right?
Warrior character, yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, yeah. So you could be, that's just tons and tons of hits with heavy bolters or -1. You can shred through a lot of stuff. I think it's quite interesting. It's got play. I mean, it's not. In my particular build, it doesn't do anything because my stuff all starts on the board. So, but in certain builds, that's incredibly powerful. You could build for that psychic power.
Can I just say as well, Lurking Moors does sound like something that you get arrested for. So, it's
it is a bit.
Let me put my flashing Mac on, right?
But it doesn't sound as cool as the Hydra, the Death Shriek. As warp chiller of 5.
That's what I'm talking about.
It is. So with a friendly Hydra model within 6 inches of the Psyker, within 6 inches.
What does Hydra do? Tell me what Hydra does because I don't actually know.
+1 to hit if you outnumber your opponent.
Okay.
And so what's it? So Psyker, and within 6 inches of the enemy unit that's destroyed, roll a d6 and roll of 6. The closest enemy unit to the Hydra model suffers 1 mortal wound. It's shit. Really shit. But this one, let's say best to last. This is incredibly powerful. And
Symbiostorm.
So this is the one you do on your Exocrine, and here we go.
Oh, it's the Exocrine again. We're back.
Yeah,
He's back in a big way.
Has a warp charge value of 6. If manifested, select one friendly Cronus unit within 12 inches of the Psyker. Until the end of the turn, when resolve an attack made with a ranged weapon this model, a hit roll of 6 plus scores 1 additional hit. Yep. Really good. Exploding 6s. The interesting thing about this as well, there's very little. I know they know what they're doing though, because there's very little way of stacking +1 to hits with. It's very.
It sounded exciting, but you can't get a +1 from anything else though.
No, so you could do it on warriors again. So if you did it on warriors for instance, if you took a big unit of 9 warriors with 3 venom cannons. So the venom cannons in the warriors are strength 8, D3 damage, -2, and then the rest of them will all be death spitters. And then you put them with a prime, it gives them +1 to hit.
That's all right.
That's quite strong.
Because the Prime can cast the power as well, can't he? He's a psychic.
No,
right?
no, the Prime.
Oh, he's not.
No, he's not. But you'd have to have another guy. But in theory, you could have then, if they didn't move as well, they would be re-rolling ones. It's all right, but I like it on the X-Crine anyway. I think the X-Crine is really good because he be re-rolling ones. So he's 12 shots, hit on threes, re-rolling ones. 6 is an additional hit. Strength 7, -3, 2 damage. Use a stratagem on him to make him 3 damage. So basically, you spend 2 CPs to make it 3 damage. So then each one that gets through with a -3 is 3 damage each. That's good. That's really strong.
He's back, isn't he? He's back.
He's 150 points.
That's not a lot, is it?
It's not.
And he's tanky as well, and he's I was
toughness
remember him being, he was tanky as shit last time. It's like, wow, he's tougher than I thought. And in your build, he's going to be what?
Nah, well, it depends. See, I think that reroll ones is so strong.
Yeah, it's you're not going to give him the extra
it's worth me having him in a separate detachment to give him that. You know.
I agree. It's pretty solid.
He's 155 points to be exact. But for me, that's just to maximize that efficiency. You just want him. You give him that 5-up invuln. You make sure he's never degrading. Basically, you move him. You use a stratagem on him so it doesn't matter. So he's going to be in range. Then you make him so he's then rerolling ones, 12 shots, he exploding 6s. It's really strong. That's super strong.
So we're impressed. Then we've ended on a high.
Yes. So look. My overall feeling is it's a little bit of a swing and a miss, but it does definitely makes my army better and it gives us more options. So I think there's a fair few builds that you couldn't use before and now you can.
Which is always good, right? Which is always good. It's always good to get models out that you've never had before. Yeah. And let's be quite honest here, it's always good for Games Workshop to sell models that have been sat in the warehouse for the last 6 years. So fair play to them.
And they've tried. Like, and the reality is, if they just give us a new codex, and they just
could be quite good, right?
And they just tweaked a few of those key kind of units that got stratagems, like the Mr. Tickle, the Maliceptor, and made those units just base abilities better. Then paired with this, we could then be like a real force to be reckoned with. So I think, the future's probably pretty bright. And as a kind of a makeshift, it definitely gives us an increase in power. So,
yeah, because that's what a lot of people are saying with this stuff, isn't it? It's not. It's like Games Workshop has realised maybe there was a bit of a fuck up with Space Marines. I don't know. So, but
really
to rewrite, bear with me. To rewrite a whole codex is going to take time.
Yeah.
But these things you can throw out pretty quickly, and they were written before it all came out, and I know that. But it's still almost like they're trying to give them a bit of a leg up, and whether or not it's gonna. I know, like we're a competitive group, right? And we talk competitively, but your average club player is going to love that because it's fun. Yeah. The person that goes to a tournament, let's be honest, right now, if you're a NID player, you're not going to win anyway, are you?
No, you're playing hard. You're playing the hard ball.
Yeah. So anything that helps a little bit is good because that's the thing with it. I've always thought with the NID players, and NIDs are in that kind of group where they can be the spoiler because they can just be that hard counter you weren't expecting. So you might not win the tournament, but what you've got the great pleasure of knowing is that you're stopping the other fella from doing it because you just brought a bit of a weird off-meta list. Like you brought your Carnifex list out first of all, and nobody had even contemplated it, and it was like shit. Your Space means like you're not blue, and you were punching above your weight with it, to be quite frank.
Yeah, absolutely. And and I will the reality is I'm going to bring a version of that almost certainly to LVO, and I'll surprise people there. It just will. And that's the thing. So I suppose to end kind of, if you look at my list, so I don't think my list is necessarily built for this, but if you take my list in itself, Carnifexes in my build are like 126 points or something like that.
Did they get cheaper? Cheaper?
No, they didn't. Oh. But basically, I drop a Carnifex, move a few points around, and I put an X-Crine in.
Yeah.
Which
is good.
And it just gives me extra firepower. And then on top of that, then I give all of my characters the relics to make their weapons better. And then I've got stratagems that I can make stuff more effective. And that without really doing anything else at all. I've got a few extra points to play with. Actually, no, mine doesn't really change in points. It stays the same. But basically, in a nutshell, I've got more effectiveness from the same list, which is good, right?
Oh, always.
Yeah, so I suppose for me, that's without me really doing anything else apart from just putting in Exocrine and changing a few little tiny bits around, and I've got extra play in my list. But it's really tempting now for me to look at things like to put a lictor in.
Yeah, I definitely would. Because that suddenly being able to turn off Overwatch is strong.
Do I put in a Morlock? Put in a Morlock just for a bit of fun. You've got some stuff there. Got a stratagem for that. It's pretty cheap points. There's lots of little things that I don't need to move many points around,
For 104 for a Morlock just to pop up and be a pain in the ass. Yeah. And then you get a Lictor popping up and he's tagging things in and just being a pain in the ass again. It's just, I don't know, there's like you said, it's not Space Marines, which is unfortunately the level we compare everything to, right? So
yeah, absolutely. But there's so many things to consider. Do you go like
good player's going to go all right with it, or could.
Yeah. Exactly. So, do you go engineers on the unit of warriors, engineers on warriors, stick them at the back, and I heard that as well before I dickheads. Anyway.
Why would you put engineers onto warriors? Oh, seriously, I want to know. Why would you do that?
Because super resilient now in the backfield, sitting on an objective.
Are they now that cheap that they could do that? That's generally
that
is a general.
Yeah. If you just put Devourers on them and didn't put any upgrades on them at all, they're actually a really cheap unit that you're probably going to struggle to clear. Because the thing is as well, you're never going to make them run because they're 3 wounds each. They're synapse, so they're never going to run away. So you've got to kill every last one. And the thing is, they're going to be hiding. So they're infantry, so they're going to be hiding on an objective out of line of sight. And Thunderfire cannons ain't going to kill warriors.
No,
and not with all the stacks and not with all their abilities.
Yeah, and the one thing I always found whenever I played Nids is it's really hard to want to get into your backfield because you just get swamped. Yep. You just get absolutely swamped. So it's very difficult unless I've got the ability to go after those warriors with something hard hitting. I just can't do much about that. No, that's quite interesting. So I like that. It's thinking outside the box.
I think that
just won me back.
There's so many little bits and pieces like that to think about. So, but anyway, guys. So thank you. We're starting to ramble now, and I could go on for hours on Nids. So we're going to finish the podcast now. But thank you very, very much for listening, taking the time out. Next time we will cover Blood Angels. Even
I don't want to do that, to be quite frank.
We'll do it. We'll do it because we kind of got to, or maybe we don't. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, guys, thank you very much for listening, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye for now.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.